on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today's Saturday. I hope you're having an awesome weekend so far. Having a look at what's going on in the markets, we're actually seeing a decent amount of green. Not too much, but it's not a bad day overall. In fact, the market cap has finally gone above $120 billion. And interestingly enough, Bitcoin dominance has pulled back 0.1%, which could explain why we're seeing some of the alts green today. Now, obviously, switching it to the Bitcoin comparative, you will notice that there is still a lot of red across the board, but dollar value, you should be up a little bit today, although I personally like to look at the Bitcoin just because, well, if you're in crypto, you should just look at crypto, right? But that being said, Bitcoin is 3,627, XRP almost 32 cents again, Ethereum $117 with the biggest gainers of the day. Wow, Holochain up another 25%. Congratulations to everyone out there holding Holo. We have Theta, Nano, Decentraland, Tron, Dentacoin, Populous, Komodo, Repo, and Aurora all doing quite well today. Now, having a look at the Bitcoin chart, the question is, are we going to maintain this $121 billion total market cap for all of cryptos? What's going to happen with Bitcoin? Well, as you guys know, we've been following this pattern that seems to be happening over and over and over again. If you guys didn't have an opportunity to catch the video, I will drop it above where we were asking why Bitcoin dumped, and we were looking at these fractal patterns, which are essentially bot trading, and they make the BART patterns, right? Now let's look at what's happening here. Well, check this out, guys. So we had the first massive dump. We went over this pattern, pump, sideways, dump. Now this would be dump number 2, number 1, 2. We do it again, 3. Now we were actually faked out here because if we had followed these patterns originally, right here, we should have dumped, but we didn't. We actually pumped a little bit, but if you look at it, now we're forming these same patterns again, where you have this valley, you know, in here with these two hills or whatever you want to call them. Same thing right here, up and down. So that's my technical analysis. I know it's not a bunch of triangles, guys, but I am just talking about the fact that lower volume plus the fact that we're repeating these patterns. What does this mean short term? Well, we could go lower. I'm just being real, guys. There's a potential chance to go lower. You know, if you go back here and you have a look, for example, at some of the spots where we had the really low volume, it's funny because when you zoom out, look, it's almost insignificant, right? We're literally looking at this little tiny thing. But looking at the volume currently, the last time that we had that type of volume was all the way back here, right before these big falls. You could see here was low volume, we fell, and here was low volume, we fell as well. So that's basically the situation, guys. Now, there's a lot of negative sentiment out there still, a lot of people saying that we're going lower and lower and lower. I mean, I've personally drawn this line here. Now, this goes all the way back to where we had this sort of period of just rough resistance, support, right? And it seems like this level right here, $2,500, was a very psychological key level that we just kept testing over and over again. So in my opinion, I still think 2,500 is the bottom if we ever go there, but I do understand why these guys are calling 1,300 because this would bring us to these peaks that we had back here right around February, March. So that's where that's coming from. Now, here is the bearish news, right? I guess if you want to say, that came out of JP Morgan. So they wrote in a note to their clients. Now, this is from the managing director and analyst, Jan Loeys, said, even in extreme scenarios such as recession or financial crisis, there are more liquid and less complicated instruments for transacting, investing, and hedging, in part due to the scale afforded by fiat currency's legal tender status. Loeys believes Bitcoin may have value when all else crumbles, adding, we have long been skeptical of cryptocurrency's value in most environments other than a dystopian one characterized by a loss of faith in all major reserve assets. So like a Blade Runner type future, I guess. So then they go, conclusion, Bitcoin could plummet to $1,260 if the bear market persists. Now, going back to the chart over here, $1,260 would bring you right around that area where we had these peaks way back in early 2017, okay? They say, Yeah, well, that was pretty much the note that they did. Now, you have Rand Neuner. You guys know he's on CNBC, okay? Now, we know the jokes about CNBC. I'm not saying to listen to CNBC, but he suggested that the perception of Bitcoin and its inherent value is largely shaped by different narratives, right? Many of which are quite polarizing. These broad crypto narratives challenge the soundness of the technology, test real-world use cases, and the speed of adoption, and question the long-term competitive advantages that cryptocurrencies profess to have over fiat and gold. Now you can see right here, he says what we see: more lightning nodes, more adoption, decreased fees, multiple new fast blockchains, increasing demand for blockchain developers. What they see: no ETF anytime soon, back delayed, ETH constant delayed. Ethereum Constantinople. PayPal CEO not bullish on Bitcoin. Bitcoin may go to zero on CNBC, right? So the thing is, though, despite crypto adoption, relatively low Bitcoin price volatility and price consolidation, trading volumes remain down. And that was my biggest concern, is the low volume. When you have these low volumes, that's when you get those massive movements. You know what I'm saying? Because then it just kind of falls off because there's just not enough happening, essentially. But moving on, talking about some of the predictions that were made. So in one hand, we have the doom and gloom, we're all going to zero, right? And then we had the guys making massive price predictions going to, a million, John McAfee, right? Or else he's going to eat his own manhood on national television. Well, they actually caught up and were talking to Tom Lee. Now, he was the guy that was predicting a $25,000 Bitcoin by the end of last year. Clearly that didn't happen. So he says it's a huge disappointment, and neither came in terms of price or by calendar, without acknowledging that it was probably said speculation that caused the 2017 Bitcoin all-time high in the first place. Lee stated that 2018 was a period of adjustment after a slew of flawed projects that had left investors out of pocket. He said, "We thought Bitcoin would survive that. It didn't. It got sold off with the rest of the market." The conversation then turned to Lee's expectations of Bitcoin's future and whether it would ever reach its $25,000 price call. To this, he basically said, yes. He says, yes, it will reach $25,000, before reminding the presenter that Bitcoin had already experienced 4 pullbacks of more than 70%, 4 times in the past, before moving to all-time highs. Currently, we were sitting around an 82% decrease, right? Now, if we were to go to that $2,500 level, that would bring the overall market, or it would bring Bitcoin down 87.5% from its all-time high in the end of 2017, which would put it right on par with some of the previous ones, okay? So he says, he also went on to comment on the ever-growing hunger for an asset class that was uncorrelated to traditional markets and entirely digital among millennials and those living outside of the US. He says there's an interest in digital currencies, digital assets, stores of values that's not traditional money. Now, I can actually validate that because this was from an article that I spoke about on the channel, and this was back in September of last year. And you could see it says interest in cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin, continues to grow amongst the young. As a new study conducted by Curiously in conjunction with Coinbase shows that the rise in interest among students is growing. It has been suggested that Bitcoin is on the same trajectory as the internet and social media before it. Up to 1/5 of students already own Bitcoin, while 2/5 of universities offer courses on cryptocurrency and blockchain. Stanford University is currently leading the way with over 10 courses on the subject, and with student interest and enthusiasm flourishing, this trend among universities continues to grow. Now, here's the thing, okay? Everyone's out here saying, doom and gloom, it's going to zero, forget it, the institutions aren't coming, this and that. Guys, you know how these people manipulate the space. Come on, we've talked about it on the channel before. We've talked about the gatekeepers, we've talked about the digital currency group, and we've talked about how these guys suppress the prices so that they can get in cheaper, okay? Now, if this is the situation, explain to me why Mike Novogratz is reportedly raising a $250 million round to support crypto businesses. So according to a Business Insider exclusive report, sources close to the company have revealed that Galaxy Digital is in the process of securing $250 million to establish a credit fund to finance crypto funds struggling to deal with the long-lasting bear market. Now, obviously, if these guys thought this was the end, you would just throw in the towel. You wouldn't be raising more money to try to support these struggling blockchain companies. The initiative of Galaxy Digital and Mike Novogratz comes in a time which even the largest and most profitable companies in the cryptocurrency sector are laying off employees. We've seen it with Steam, we've seen it with Consensus, we've seen it with Bitmain, right? Okay, so they're asking, well, why is this reassuring to investors? Well, if Mike Novogratz and the team at Galaxy Digital completes the $250 million round, it will establish a positive sentiment in the cryptocurrency sector. Not to mention, several major financial institutions like NASDAQ and Fidelity have invested tens of millions of dollars in the last 3 months with the long-term outlook of the cryptocurrency space in mind. So these guys are not going to be shelling out multiple millions of dollars for an asset class that's going to zero because it's all speculation and that's it, right? So I just want to focus on some of those guys. And, lastly, the most important thing to remember about cryptocurrencies is the fact that Bitcoin is inherently censorship resistant. That actually single-handedly may be the most attractive thing about Bitcoin. For example, as part of an international effort to wrest power from Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela, the Bank of England has denied the nation access to gold deposits stored with the institution. Okay? Such instances highlight just why a permissionless store of value like Bitcoin is important in both the global and personal level, and just think about all the people that don't even have access yet. Okay? We're just getting started, guys. Now, I'm bringing it up again because you guys just will not stop talking about it, so you have officially convinced me that this is potentially the biggest catalyst so far, or it could be for crypto. So you have Joseph Young speaking on the Samsung Galaxy S10. He says, humble opinion, I think it may have a bigger impact than ETF and backed combined. Partially because no one really knows what kind of exposure the ETF or backed will bring. Meanwhile, millions of people using Samsung phones daily. So basically, this is almost forcing adoption, right? I mean, they're all going to see it on their phones. It's going to basically say, hey, this is real. This is something that people are doing, and Samsung, boom, seal of approval, right? Now, there were some other things floating around I wanted to talk about, and this is why you guys, you may be right. I mean, this may potentially be the biggest catalyst crypto has actually seen so far, getting it in the hands of people that are already comfortable with it, right? Now, this came out too. This is co-founder over at Nodle. Now, this was floating around, so I didn't want to bring it out to you guys because I wasn't sure how credible the source was. But he said, big news for the crypto community. Samsung is shipping a crypto wallet on all phones in 2019. That's 1/4 of all smartphones per year, over 500 million phones. So with Nodle's new proof of work we call proof of connectivity, everyone will be able to remotely mine on their smartphone. This is insane, guys. So they have something called proof of connectivity, and they're going to allow you to passively mine crypto on your phone. Now, I don't think you'll be able to mine Bitcoin. You could probably try, but I don't know if you'll be able to really get that hash power that you need. But interestingly enough, this has actually been validated by Nodle IoT. As you can see right here, big news for crypto community. Samsung shipping crypto wallet on all phones in 2019, paired with Nodle's network. Everyone will be able to remotely mine on their smartphone. So as you can see right here, I was curious to figure out what is Nodle. I hadn't really heard of them. So it says that basically they're a connectivity provider for the Internet of Things. They've built a robust Bluetooth low energy powered network to help companies and cities connect and collect data from their devices, sensors, and tags. So it says that their network architecture and system design leverages what is called the smartphone infrastructure, utilizing smartphones as nodes and base stations for the network. The team at Nodle have developed an innovative way to grow the network through proof of connectivity. Using such method, mobile application developers and consumers compete and participate in the network by enabling their smartphones to provide resources such as wireless radio and bandwidth, and in exchange for their contribution, get rewarded with Nodle coins. So guys, how cool is that? Now, some people were saying to me, I had a few comments, well, we shouldn't be promoting Samsung. They already make lots of money, right? We should be talking about Finney and Siren Labs. Now, guys, while I'm all for supporting, projects in the space, trust me, I hate to see guys like Siren, bust their ass to put these phones out just to have, Samsung take all the market. But the thing I want to point out is that you're not going to convince someone that isn't interested really in crypto to go out and buy a blockchain smartphone, okay? But someone that's already very accustomed and used to using a Samsung phone is going to easily and happily go out and purchase it just because they want the brand new phone. And then once they see all the new features, they're going to get curious. Maybe they might even just buy a little bit of crypto just to see what happens, right? And I wonder, now, considering we're, I would say, arguably at the bottom of the bear market, give or take maybe one or two more drops, which is possible, think about buying now. And those guys come back a couple months later, and that crypto that you bought, back in early January is now twice the price. So just think about that, guys. Because, really, why did most people get in the first place? Because of the price, right? So I'm just trying to play this all out. I'm thinking about the catalyst that this phone could bring. Not the Finney phone, but you know what I'm saying. And, how it could affect people's perception of crypto and what it could potentially do. So I'm pumped. I'm bullish. You guys convinced me. This is the third time I'm bringing it up. So let's go to the moon. But first, let's talk about some news. So we have Trust Wallet, which was acquired by Binance in mid-2018, has recently integrated Dash into their wallet services. That's actually it for Dash. Moving on. Let's talk about Tron. So Justin Sun recently tweeted that Tron occupies 6 seats in the world's top 10 dApps, and Ethereum gets 0. In the future, it will be 10 out of 10 seats. You guys have to pretty much be accustomed to, this smugness from this guy after a while. But hey, man, all kidding aside, Weiss Ratings, who pretty much used to bash Tron left and right, they said we might give Tron a hard time every now and then, but give credit where credit is due. The TRX USD pair is the most bullish looking chart of any top 10 project right now. The popularity of this project cannot be denied. Also, they say that there's a few reasons to be bullish on it. Number one, as stated by Weiss Ratings, the project is popular. The Tron community is large and active on all social media platforms. 2, the BitTorrent token sale is only 2 days away. It starts on the 28th of January till the 3rd of February. The token sale has caused some excitement around TRX and BNB as well, considering that the token sale will also accept Binance Coin. Third, the first BitTorrent airdrop will be February 11th. After the first airdrop, holders of TRX will continue to get BTT airdrops on the 11th of each month until February 2025. This is 6 years of incentive to hold TRX. So I don't know if you guys remember the excitement when Neo had gas and Ontology, gas. Well, now let's see what this is when you get airdropped BitTorrent tokens every single month until the year 2025. Okay? And finally, the project continues to welcome new dApps, smart contracts, and more. Justin Sun also said over 150 dApps and more than 300 smart contracts. So yeah, pretty incredible, guys. Another project that we were just speaking about that, used to get a lot of criticism back in the day, maybe it still does, is Ripple. So we have the foreign exchange service Mercury FX says it plans to move millions of dollars worth of cross-border payment using Ripple's XRP-based XRapid. So now we had spoke about these guys originally. They reported moving $4,574 from UK to Mexico. The payment executed in a matter of seconds compared to 31 hours, which is what it would have taken using traditional payment rails. And the fees that they saved were over $102. So they said after this successful test, now they plan on moving a large chunk of money, like millions of dollars worth. So that's pretty cool. And, guys, you can hate on different projects. You can hate on XRP. You can hate on Tron. You can hate on EOS or Ethereum or whatever it is. But you got to give credit where it's due. And if these projects are providing some form of value, even if it's in their own unique way, then you really can't deny that. And the fact that XRP and XRapid has become such a good solution for cross-border, transfers at a super fast speed, well, that's something that pretty much can't be denied. Now, I also want to talk about Brave. So they have started showing ads in their web browser with privacy-focused new technology. Now, later this year, other software makers are going to be able to do the same thing. So the company plans to release software development kits starting the second half of this year that will let programmers tap into the privacy-protecting ads. So they say first, we have to prove the model in Brave. This is actually Brendan Eich saying this. He says, but after that, we do want better scale for high quality ads with better audience. Many details aren't settled, but Brave will extract some of the resulting revenue. So just to kind of come down here and see what it's all about, they talk about their two-phase ad plan. So the first is for Brave's ad technology. This is disabled until you activate it. It has two phases. The first shows ads in a notification you can click. Just seeing the notification generates some revenue, but clicking on it generates more. You keep 70% of that ad revenue and Brave keeps 30%. This is the form of advertising now built into the test version of Brave, geared for developers, but that will spread more broadly. The second phase will build on Brave ads, and it will have them the ads directly into publishers' websites in partnership with those publishers. So the publishers will keep 70%, while the user, you, and Brave will each get 15%. This phase should arrive later this year. So guys, if you haven't had an opportunity to at least just try the Brave browser, see what it's all about, I think you definitely should, just to support, the space and stuff like that. I'm actually a verified publisher on Brave too. If you guys are interested, I have a link below. You guys can download it. If it's your first time, they do give you like $5 worth of Brave tokens, but unfortunately it's just like incentive to use those tokens on the network. But hey, it's a start, right? So also, moving on, let's talk about some adoption, and then let's get on out of here because it's the weekend, and who wants to sit around all day watching crypto videos? So we have the cryptocurrency exchange Bitstamp has partnered with Dukascopy Bank to enable Dukascopy. Why does that sound like I don't know, it just reminds me of like a medical procedure, like a colonoscopy or something. Anyway, I'm off topic here. Bank to enable crypto funding for the clients of the bank. The bank is a leading Swiss online bank, and its clients can now send Bitcoin to their accounts, and the crypto will be converted to US dollars, which they can use to trade on the Swiss FX market. So this is pretty cool. The clients of Dukascopy can also withdraw their funds back to their crypto wallets in the form of Bitcoin. Bitstamp will facilitate the conversion of fiat to Bitcoin and vice versa. Now, just to note, Bitcoin deposits are not processed instantly. Therefore, the trader must accept the possibility of losses due to the change in the Bitcoin USD rate during conversion. And secondly, deposits and withdrawals of BTC will process only during the business days relating to the Canton of Geneva, Switzerland. So there you guys go. Now, speaking of more stuff that's going on, now let's talk about Italy. 6 members of the Italian Senate have proposed a regulation to allow blockchain technology to be used as a state-sanctioned method of verification. Man, everybody's getting on the train, huh? This is why I don't get it. The price keeps going down, right? This is why you got to ask yourself, guys, like, how can you believe this FUD that you're hearing in the news when you're seeing all this positive stuff? Anyway, according to the regulation, distributed ledgers and smart contracts could eventually serve as legally sanctioned electronic signatures in Italy. So, the proposed blockchain regulation defines both technologies based on distributed ledgers and smart contracts. Speaking on the legal propensity of smart contracts, for instance, the regulation states that smart contracts satisfy the requirement of a written form following the consent of interested parties. Now, this is probably going to put a lot of people out of jobs, but it's nice to know that they're, taking or I should say, understanding the power of smart contracts, okay? Although, the one thing about smart contracts, not to get off topic, is without oracles, things can get a little messy. But if you're just talking about things like, really simple contracts, that's one thing. But, things like Chainlink and stuff like that are definitely going to play out pretty big in the future. Also, they just say that the draft regulation allots 90 days to the Agency of Digital Italy to outline technical standards that digital ledgers must possess in order to be treated as legally binding. Now, I also want to just note that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, though, because still for some of these guys, especially, the people that have the graphics processing units, okay, they're not doing too well. So you see right here, ahead of the release of Advanced Micro Devices' fourth quarter report, analysts state the company could still be facing problems due to a crypto hangover, as they put it. In fact, recently, even their most popular chip that has been widely used by most crypto miners was recently being sold for $180, which is down 67% from a peak average price around $550 in February of 2018. But guys, it's cool because check it out. Even though the other ETF didn't get approved, we got another ETF. That's right. I know nobody cares, but let's talk about it anyway. So we still have the ETF from Bitwise that was announced. Now, they say that this ETF is a little bit different, okay? They said that it's different from previous efforts because a regulated third-party custodian would store the Bitcoins. The company also said it would draw pricing data from a large number of exchanges, including both spot and physically settled futures markets, to calculate the index determining the asset's value. I know nobody cares. Why am I reading this? Nobody cares about any more ETFs. I don't know. All right, well, if you guys want, I'll drop this below. There's another ETF right now, but currently it's not being looked at, because of the government being shut down, yada, yada, yada. But check it out. I don't know. Could be good news. So we'll leave that there. This is an interesting story. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak apparently claims to have sold all of his Bitcoin at the all-time high of 20,000. He said that he first bought an undisclosed quantity of Bitcoin when it was around $700 because he wanted to experiment with it. He said, "My goal was to travel to a place like Stockholm and go to restaurants and hotels that only accept Bitcoin and use it for when I travel." But, when asked about it, he says, he still believes in it and everything. He says, "When it shot up high, I didn't want to be one of those people who watches and watches and watches and only cares about the number. I don't want that kind of care in my life. Part of my happiness is not to have worries. So I sold it all and just got rid of it." So will he be buying back in? I don't know. He still is a supporter of it. I mean, he doesn't diss on it. He's been pretty cool when it comes to talking about blockchain and crypto, but hey, good for you, man. Congratulations. Wish we could all say the same. So also, this is one last final thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if this guy is telling the truth or not, but this is over on Reddit. He says, "I was really drunk last night and I overdrafted my bank account with a $30,000 Bitcoin purchase on Coinbase and I can't withdraw." So, this is really funny. Somebody says screenshot of Coinbase app or it didn't happen, which he didn't actually provide a screenshot, but yeah, guys, be careful getting drunk and overdrafting and buying Bitcoin. I know it can get a little crazy sometimes, so just be careful out there, guys. I know it gets crazy on the weekends, but that being said, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who's been liking, subscribing, commenting, everyone that's been joining the Telegram group, stopping by, saying hello. If you guys don't have a safe place to put your cryptocurrencies yet, you need to get yourself some kind of a hardware wallet, guys. As you know, links in the description below for Ledger wallets if you don't. That being said, guys, seriously, you're freaking awesome. Thank you for coming back to the channel. Tomorrow's Sunday. I usually take the day off, but come on, guys, let's be real. You guys know I'm going to get antsy. I'm going to end up making a video. So chances are I'll probably see you guys tomorrow again. That being said, I'm out of here till then. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto and peace out.